can you claim your broker fees as an allowable expense? Hi, I'm Kimberly Shapcott, qualified chartered accountant, property investor and entrepreneur. Let's sit down and have a chat. Most property investors will get some sort of finance at some point during their property ventures. Now, when we get a mortgage from someone, you usually use a broker. So are these broker fees allowable for tax purposes? And the answer is a simple yes. You can claim these in your tax computation. Now, for a company, it's very simple. The allowance just goes through. Keep copies of your invoice, pay through your company if you can, otherwise use an expense claim form where you haven't. And generally, it's a relatively straightforward process. So the key thing in a company is to claim the expense, put it through the company's books so that it ends up on your tax computation. The evidence that you will need is your invoice, any emails, any documentation you may have to show how much that you have paid for that expense. If you have paid for it personally, then you can claim it through an expense claim form, and check out the video on expense claim forms on how to go about doing that. And then when it goes on your tax computation, it will just reduce the tax charge by the appropriate rate that your company is being charged. Let's move on to if you're doing things as an individual, as the answer is still yes, but it works in a slightly different way. So again, the main thing is you've paid for it, keep the evidence. So you've got your invoice, you've got your emails, or whatever you have as evidence of that expense. Ideally, pay it out of that separate bank account with all your rental expenses if you can, so it keeps it nice and simple. I say that, but I know most of us probably pay it on a credit card or on a different bank account. That's fine, just make sure you keep the evidence so you've got it all together. Now, for an individual, this expense, because it is to do with financing, falls under Section 24, the interest rate relief provisions, which means, yes, you can claim it, but this now falls within the outside your rental expenses side of things. So you will get an interest rate relief of 20%. So it doesn't matter what tax rate you are paying, you will just get 20% tax relief on it. So let's just say we've paid £500 for our broker fees. How will that get dealt with? How that will get dealt with is you'll pay it out, so you've now got an allowable expense. When you do your rental accounts in the year, you'll do your rental income, your rental expenses to get your rental profits. However, this broker fee will not form part of those rental expenses, and it will not be in your rental profits. That figure will then go into your tax return, and you'll calculate how much tax you are now due. So now we know how much tax we are due, we can do our interest rate relief calculation, and whatever interest we paid on our mortgage will be included in this figure, and your broker fees will be included in this figure. So when we've got our figure, let's just put our £500 on it for now. We've now got 20% tax relief. So on that £500, we'll get £100 tax relief, which will come off the tax bill that we're paying. So if we were going to have to pay £1,100 tax, we'll now only have to pay £1,000 tax because that 100 will come off the tax liability. So in summary, broker fees, yes, they are allowable. For a company, they're just straight allowable and will be at the appropriate tax rate. For individuals, they fall under Section 24 as a finance charge. So they'll form part of the interest rate relief. So definitely, yes, allowable, but they are restricted to the 20% tax relief that we are claiming. If you have any questions, make sure you speak to your accountant to make sure you're happy with how this works. But definitely make sure you tell them you've refinanced or you've got financing so that it can be included on your tax return. Hopefully today you've discovered what you can be claiming with your broker fees. If you have any questions, then please do leave a comment. Please like the video and do subscribe to the channel, and let's make tax less taxing.